pro wrestler Diamond Dallas Page is? I've heard the name. I'm being drawn into a real conversation with this severely depressed, homeless guy here. Diamond Dallas Page is a yoga program designed for disabled veterans. Are you a veteran? Yes. Yes, I am. I'm a veteran of the United States Coast Guard. Well, Diamond Dallas Page is a yoga video where he gets disabled veterans to work out. He worked out with this Korean War veteran who walked with 2 sticks just like you, and only 1 year he was running marathons. Really? I think I'm a bit too far gone for any such miracle cure. But you're still an inspiration. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good Lord's work. It's such a personally rewarding feeling to provide so much hope and inspiration to the badly depressed and domiciled population in this life.
Good night. Joshua walked out, so we will have John J. Strauss. Come on up. All right. Hey, Johnny. Hey, listen.
Wow, this is how it goes in an empty room.
There he is.
Thank you. Yeah, this is very good. So, I used to work at the Museum of Modern Art, so this is called MoMA Descending. MoMA. MoMA trustees in the staff elevator descending from the 6th floor. Male trustee. Good heavens, what happened to your arm? Female trustee with arm in a sling. Oh, I broke my arm. My doctor says that I must wear over it men's socks. Where does one get men's socks? Male trustee, I don't know. Wallets? Female trustee, I'll have to send out one of the help. By the way, what's all this fuss about ethnic cleansing? Why is everyone against it? One of my cleaning ladies comes from Honduras and she does a good job. Copyright 1993, the Museum of Modern Art. The Edge. Is it not ironic that nearly 18 years after the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center's Twin Towers, a new building, also a giant skyscraper known as 30 Hudson Yards, opened much further uptown, looking like a giant box cutter? The Edge. Thank you. Mrs. Dildaway in Bond Street. Mrs. Dildaway said she would buy the dildos herself, diddling away the hours in idle diletti in prep for her party, strap-on that is. The helping themselves to helpings of pasties and pastries galore, baker's dozens of delight, force meat, puddings, mincemeat, meats, ices, while Clarissa stepped off the curb and saw the contrail of a jetliner spewing spume across the mid-morning sky as a water main broke with a bang and a burst of wetness, Big Ben banging its broad bells in thunderous vibrato. And she thought of George and Gerald, Emma and Vida, and Nessa cleaving to Clive in the Turkish delight Rose and Mastic. The Colonel brought from the Dardanelles to Hammersmith that summer she melted in the garden and wanted to throw herself out an upper story window. And she heard the report on the wireless in the shop that it would be the talk of her party, the tubular, crop head hurtling headlong from a window, her bobbed head dead on a railing spike. Oh, now death enters my party as guests enter and dildos enter and depart the nether parts postprandial. For there she was, wet, and she exclaimed. Thank you. No, he didn't. Did he or didn't he in his freak-offs? Did he with dildos and baby oil, guns and drugs, mother jugs and speed, diddying off, hey diddle diddle, seedy stuff, speedy, sex trafficking, sexing, boys and girls, guys and dolls, refuting coercion and roofies under 2 roofs. No, he didn't. Yes, he did. Shit, I have the word dildo in my last 2 poems. Thank you.
Yay, Johnny! All right. Next name, Joshua. Guys, that's what you're on the way. Go ahead.
break the legacy. I admit that I'm fascinated. The ritual alone has me peering over the counter at the dusky hostess. The loft is dim and artsy. Creative chatter floats like Egyptian music. My eyes scan the paintings, but I want the hostess. What she's making was banned, one legacy in Europe. With her dainty hands, she continues the process done in underground bars. A bottle of absinthe opened up, one sugar cube atop a punctured silver spoon, shaped like a French tower. Then she pours ice water on the cube, below a glass bearing an ounce of banned liqueur, a green fairy's liquid cape, now drinkable. The family album. I saw movement. The family album. My Europe fades, and yet reborn over waterways. I turn pages. The town returns with familiar smiles. Suddenly eclipsed in sealed wagons. The last photograph, gray-toned relatives. Hebrew names destroyed, replaced by a new road. Iron muzzle with flame on top. The flames shoot up like an exploded rocket from oil refinery. Ominous cracked torch. Trio of students wearing head cages stand behind courthouse fence. A spastic flame atop one ERC student's head cage. Mounted police swat a crowd of students in the square by courthouse. Can't Londoners speak out, not marked as rioters? Oil refinery choking their lungs. Smarter ways for fuel are on the school board blackboard. Soot on most handkerchiefs. Iron bars, silenced tongues, detention. I bet horses of mounted police neigh in disgust of the soot, clogging their panting lungs.
We have one more open mic. For what it's worth, I'm going to pass the bucket around. If you guys could throw in a couple bucks, it goes to the preachers and the bartenders, because we want everyone to love us, and they treat us so right here, so please. And we're going to have Douglas Calora come up, and then we'll take a 5-minute break, and then go get some more drinks, tip the bartenders prodigiously, and then we'll come back with our preachers.
Yeah, Douglas. Yeah, come on. I know that. Woo! Get some fucking noise.
This piece is entitled The Poet Who Didn't Like Her Nose. At a family gathering in a park, my 13-year-old cousin Becky sat alone at a picnic table and studied her nose in a compact mirror. I knew she had a hang-up about it, so I didn't mention it. I said, "What's up, kid?" She said, "Nothing." I said, "How's school?" She said, "Endless." I said, "You have a boyfriend?" She said, "Boys are sweaty, sticky, and smelly. Why would I want one?" I said, "You have a girlfriend?" She said, "Girls bore me." I said, "Have a burger, you'll feel better." She said, "Dead cows, ugh." Staring at me as if I were Kafka's giant bug, she said, "How does it feel to be older than me?" I said, "I've been older than you for so long, I forget what before felt like. How does it feel to be young and disappointed in everything?" She said, it's a lot of work, but I'm giving it my best effort. Her father stood by the grill waiting for a hamburger. I said, I had a conversation with your daughter. He said, brave man. The other day, I found her reading a book of poems by someone named Adrian Rich. According to the internet, this Rich had 3 boys with a husband who killed himself. She went on to become a famous lesbian back before every other person was a famous lesbian. She also stopped talking to men entirely. I said to Becky, if that included her sons, do you think that was fair? She pointed at her nose and said, do you think this massive growth in the middle of my face is fair? When Becky was 16, she won a poetry contest which had as its theme, how do you feel about the pending apocalypse? At the award ceremony, she came to the mic and said, my poem is called, On the Last Night of the World, I Dream of Having a Smaller Nose. Afterward, her father said, now the whole world knows you don't like your nose. She said, it's taking over my face. He said, you get that nose from my mother, a woman everyone idolized. She was the shop steward of her union at work and the master creator in her kitchen at home. At her funeral, my father, with tears in his eyes, lovingly referred to her nose as the beak of bliss. She said, are you sure he meant that as a compliment? Her father made a fist and, gnawing on one knuckle, walked away. They never could keep track of Becky's relationships, and I wasn't privy to all her battles. But I'll never forget how her father sat stiffly stoical at the book launch for her book of poems when she said to the crowd, it's been a tough journey and I've come out the other side. I'll be reading from my book, which is entitled, I Was Attacked by the Beak of Bliss and Lived.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take like a long 5, because again, we're having a heart attack. So everything's loose. So go get drinks, tip the bartender. We'll be back in a few with Matt Proctor, David Lawton, and Marianne. Oh my God.
Murray.
God damn.
No, it's okay.
I got all the way to there, though. That's something.
2/3 of the way. My 3 keys.